Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. We eat sandwiches and play games. Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. A podcast for everyone's taste.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Taste the Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all you gunsmith cats listen to. This week, it's another bonus episode, everyone.
Really?
Bonus.
So surprised.
What? Who would have thought? Who would have thought we'd be here, y'all?
Bonus episode number 8, I believe.
Yeah.
If we were a corporation and we were giving out bonuses the way we are giving out bonus episodes, we would be one of the most gratuitous, corporations ever.
Yeah. We would have the happiest employees, but would be broke by next month.
Literally. Oh, how much longer do we have left? Minus 80 hours. We should have closed 2 weeks ago.
It's fine. We'll just declare bankruptcy. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, you mean
Nature's
bonus
do-over.
You mean bonus extra hours? I was thinking bonuses like work bonuses extra money.
Yeah. Extra money.
Extra money.
Oh, but no extra hours.
No, definitely
No,
not.
Okay,
no
thank
extra
you.
hours. No, only cash.
Of course not. Uh-oh. What business are we a part of?
Well, you see, we don't have money, so our bonuses come in the form of content.
That's right. That's a great way to put it
Does
there,
that mean that
Amanda.
all our listeners work for us?
I mean, kinda.
I don't know.
If you think about it.
Guys, I don't like this analogy anymore. Let's move on.
We work
Surprise,
for you.
everybody.
Send your W-2s in.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we didn't get that set up, so you all going to have a 1099. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Enjoy them taxes. Enjoy tax season.
And as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
I'm Hassel.
And I'm Joe.
Hey, guys. So I do have a question for you all,
Yes.
like normal.
Yes. I live for these questions, Brian. Yes.
I'm glad. So, Space Jam: A New Legacy came out last week.
Okay.
And I'm sure most people did not know because nobody went and see that movie.
What are you talking about? It's a cinematic masterpiece.
I did know about it, but I still haven't seen it.
It is on our HBO.
Yes,
True.
that's how I watched it. So I watched it on HBO, and if you look at it through the lens of Space Jam 1, it's
Okay.
actually a perfectly fine, it's a great sequel
Okay.
to Space
That's
Jam.
a great way to look at it.
That's how I look at it. But, so during the middle of it, they have to kind of collect the Looney Tunes again.
Okay.
But they're in different movies, different movie
that's
universes.
such a good
Fun.
premise.
So, if you guys happen to be in a different movie universe, what would you like to be in?
A movie universe.
Yes.
What would I be up to?
Lord of the Rings. I want to be in Lord of the Rings. That
Nice.
was just gonna put my cap and my Lord of the Rings cap in the center of the table.
Yeah.
Where would we be finding you in the Lord of the Rings universe?
Oh.
We're looking for you. Where do we stumble upon?
I want to say drinking with the elves. They do not want me there.
She just won't leave, guys.
It's so good, guys. We're just best friends. I don't really feel like I always kind of belong here. I don't know. I don't. Shh.
We're all out of ale, and she still won't leave.
It's fine.
She wants to braid our hair.
It's gonna look really good. No, I can do a fishtail braid. Sit down. Sit down.
Well, I got nothing else to do with the 1,000 years of my life. Might
You're
as
like,
well.
Oh, but that does actually look pretty good.
She does a good job. I can't say anything. She does a good job. For myself, I would actually love to be an undercover brother. You guys have seen that
That's
movie?
your favorite movie, man.
It's my favorite movie, and I want to be Neil Patrick Harris. I want to
Remind
be.
me. Remind me.
He's
what
the
I-
token
roll
white
that.
guy.
Okay.
Oh.
And that's who I want to be because I love that movie and I loved his character. It's what helped revitalize his career in Hollywood. Surprisingly enough,
Sure.
it was that, then Harold and Kumar,
And Kumar.
and then it was took it off.
Broadway.
I've
Broadway,
ever
baby.
seen that.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
Both movies are pretty good. I would like to rewatch Undercover Brother to see how it holds up these days. I am a fan of Eddie Griffin, so I think I'll be all right.
Yes, yeah, it does blaxploitation very well.
Right,
I
it's like
think.
a parody.
It's a parody of it, and I think it does it very well. But yeah, that's what I would love to be in.
I think I would like to be part of the Candace Cameron Bure Hallmark Christmas time movie universe.
Okay.
What?
What?
Yeah,
So,
there's
Who
a
is this?
Candace Cameron Bure played DJ Tanner
Yes.
on Full House.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now she's kind of like been relegated to just playing like Christmas time movies on the Hallmark Channel.
Relegated.
Oh.
As if she was in the army of 90s sitcoms. She was in the military.
Well, I mean, come on, it's just it's a smaller paycheck.
It was
who
her
knows?
and Urkel.
Maybe she's making bank over at Hallmark, right?
Maybe she's really
But-
happy.
Guys, in every single one of these movies, it's always Christmas, and the problems seem so mundane. Like they could easily be fixed. Like if my worries and my problems in life were the worries and problems that they have, I would be smooth sailing. Like it would not be that bad. So that's the universe that I would want to be part of.
I like it.
I'm just imagining that you're walking down the street and they're like, oh no, Hassel, you have to get your project in by Monday, but you also have a date with that lady who lives across the street. What are you going to do?
Exactly. See? And I'm just going to be like, all right, well then I'll just work an extra couple of hours. It's really not that bad.
I'm gonna get myself a Christmas tree. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, or they're like, oh my God, Hassel, you're a fashion designer in New York City and you fell in love with this man who's totally country. What are you gonna do? And I'm like, well, work remotely. Obviously.
Just all of your movies are 7 minutes long. It's the buildup of the problem, and then you're just being like, no, I'm just going to call him and ask.
Yeah.
He's like the 7-minute horror movies where he does the right thing.
Yeah.
I'll just walk out the house.
Oh, the guy I'm interested in is emotionally unavailable? Oh, I'll just find someone else.
For me, I think I'm really torn. I'd either want to be in the Librarians universe or the Mummy universe. I think,
What's a librarian?
so the Librarians is like it's like the Mummy, only there's like 5 people that are.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Doctor Who without the time travel.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
they go all
That
over the
sounds like
world,
fun.
and there's a librarian who's like this person who kind of knows how to use everything everywhere, and like they're just that learned of things,
Okay.
and they
It was
learn how to.
a movie or
It's
TV
a movie
series? Okay.
universe in like I think it's
And
FX
TV
or,
series now.
Yeah,
It's
but
a TV series.
Oh my God.
yeah.
but The Mummy has Brendan Fraser.
That's
in
why
it,
I think the
so-
Mummy's winning
Yeah.
because it has Brendan Fraser in it, and I really like Brendan Fraser.
Okay, so you need to do me a favor. If you are going into the Mummy universe, you need to put in a good word with me with Rachel Weisz, because that was my childhood crush.
She is beautiful, and she's so cute in that movie, and she's a librarian, and that's a dope
yeah.
job.
You get the best
Yeah.
of both worlds.
right.
You do.
You know what? I think the Mummy universe. That's where I'm at.
Where would you like to be in the Mummy universe? Like, who would you like to be? Someone specific, or would you like to just exist in that universe? Because I think if you're not a main character, the universe is pretty rough.
I think I would want to be one of the Pharaoh's guards that turn into like the people that watch over the mummy's tomb.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think that's what
Great.
I like.
Yeah.
I think that's where I wanna. That's where I want to rock. Or I want to be
Get the
part of the
tattoo?
secret system. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Great eyeliner.
Right. They look cool. Odette Fair's awesome. So yeah, I think I'm going Mummy universe.
Nice.
And he's in all 3 movies, so you're probably going to make
Right.
it.
Oh yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Right.
I'm over here like, oh, maybe The Godfather, but too violent. And then I'm like, oh, maybe Madagascar, but I'm like too smelly. I think I would actually go with something a little more recent. I would go with the Wandaverse. I would be in WandaVision. I want to be one of those denizens in that town that is mind controlled, just living up their I don't know mailman life or whatever it is I'm gonna be. I don't care. And but specifically, like that's fine. Like I'm in there, I'm safe, I'm doing my thing. But now that it ended, like Wanda knows that, and I have like a superhero in my back pocket. She owes me one, and I know in my mind I'm gonna want it to be like, oh, I'm about to get in a car crash, or whoa, I need something dire is gonna happen. I'm gonna call in my favorite from Wanda, but really it's gonna be like, hey, I forgot to go to the grocery store. I need some more eggs. I'm be like, oh, Wanda, and be like, this is your one. Boop. I'm like, worth it.
I like that we all picked a different genre. Like you went with like a sitcom, and then Brian went with like a comedy, and Hassel went with like a rom-com, and then I went with like an adventure. Oh, I guess Joe and I both went adventure.
Yeah, we went adventure.
But mine was fantasy adventure, and her
Right.
was historical adventure.
Right.
So I'm just saying, if we were in the Looney Tunes Space Jam, it would be very diverse.
Oh, it absolutely
Yeah,
would. You're
yeah.
right. You're
It
right.
would be good. It
You're
would be
right.
good.
So yeah, that was that was great. That was great. The different, like you said, the different universes. Yeah, we're nailing it. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Let's let's get into the main topic, the main event, which
Ding,
is
ding, ding.
which is, are you ready to mobile? And so we're going to be talking about mobile AR games, the augmented reality. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about those types of games like Pokemon Go, The Witcher, which just came out.
Yeah, Witcher Monster Slayer and the Harry Potter Go Find Beast game. And
Fantastic beasts
Ingress.
and where to find them.
Yeah,
That's
Ingress,
the one, I think. Yeah.
Minecraft as well. Like they've had a bunch of them since Pokemon Go came out.
Who can like break down augmented reality games? Like at its base, what are these games? How would we explain that?
So what these games are, they're based in real life, basically. So it deals
real
with
life?
it's real life.
No, this is a podcast.
Oh,
And so it deals with like actual maps. So it takes the real world, but it creates like a fantasy universe inside of it. And so in order to do anything with it, you have to actually physically go to different places and do things
how dare they?
versus just, sitting on your couch and doing whatever. I mean, you can still kind of do it. You just won't get a lot of levels.
Right.
But no, that's what it is. So it's based in the real world, but it's augmented. It has additional features that happens with it.
Fantastic technology.
Yes. And so the very first one, as far as I know, was Ingress.
Yes.
And so that was made by Niantic.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like I think it's like a spy.
Yeah, it is a spy game, and I think it was even like an experiment. They were really just Niantic was really just trying to test out their technology of this kind of augmented reality mapping system, and they used a game to kind of trick people.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't, but like they kind of did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what they did was they were just like, hey, we have a great idea for a game. You
Yeah.
guys want to do all the work. And they just like...
Yeah, literally
They just
gave it
shoved
to
it-
the consumer. And it's definitely like high fantasy technology, sci-fi spy stuff. There's like the liberated thinkers and like the resistance, the enlightened. It's the enlightened versus the resistance, and it's very much like Empire Rebels type stuff. And
okay.
you eat, but no, there's no real clear bad side.
But how did they make you work to play this game?
So like you pick your side, and then they have, at least in Ingress's gameplay, they have actually like places of interest that are art based, like statues.
Okay.
Or whatever, and you go there, and there's like a portal that opens up, and then you have to do some mobile stuff. I don't know exactly,
Yeah.
but you play the game there,
Okay.
and pretty much it's almost like a big tug of war. You're like tugging whatever the points are, or whoever's winning, to your side.
Okay.
And the other team is constantly trying to pull
Pull
it
it
the
back.
other way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that they make the user do all the work is, obviously it's an entire globe and they can't cover everything. So they have the users go out and go, hey, what's something that's cool in your area? What do you think
Oh,
should be
that's cool.
areas in this? And so they take pictures of it, send it in to them, be like, hey, listen, I think this should be an area.
Boom.
And then somebody from the company will go in and be like, all right, there's no other areas around that. So yeah, that's fine. The picture looks good. Let's
And then
go.
they just use that data for Pokemon Go.
That's exactly what they did. That
To
is
make
Pretty
millions.
sure that's exactly what they did. Yeah.
That is exactly
And
what
I
happened.
know, like the Ingress game is also free, like the other games are, or the freemium. So I know they paid money, like consumers paid money into that, the ones that were really
Yeah.
into that game. So they literally paid for other people to get. What was crazy about Ingress is it became such like a phenomenon at that time because technology like it hadn't existed before, and there were less rules as to how you play, as since they were kind of making up as they go. Things got cutthroat out there. People running across streets, people getting into fist fights. I remember at one point, I think we talked about it on this podcast years and
someone
years ago.
electrocuted?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, there was a thing,
What?
and there was a thing that was behind a fence, and so the opposite team rigged the fence so that it would be electrified. They put like a bootleg thing on it so that if another team tried to open the fence or get around, they would actually get shocked. That's where this game went.
Yeah. It
That
went-
is dedication, and that is terrifying. I don't know if I would ever do that for a Pokemon, but man, does that sound epic.
they got deep in that game and they were like, no, we're doing spy stuff, y'all. We're actually doing real life spy stuff in this.
Yeah, because you're spies. Thank you.
Yeah,
I forgot to
that's
mention
what it
you
was.
are spies on either side.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is
Who
before
was
they implemented
playing this game? Was it Kevin
a lot of
McAllister?
people. Paint buckets and nails on stairways.
But from that very first game, Ingress spawned many other games, and the newest one being The Witcher, Was it Monster Slayer?
Yes, Witcher Monster Slayer.
Awesome. And so that one literally just came out also this week.
It did.
And so
New
Release.
we're talking about games we're playing, guys. Is this a normal episode?
Oh no! Not yet.
Whoa. Okay, let's not go too far.
All right. But like this game just came out, and it's another one of those augmented realities. However, it's set in the Witcher universe. So, Maddie, you've been playing this probably the most out of all of us. So explain it.
I don't know why you would say that as I look down on the table and notice that I have a rot fiend that I haven't destroyed in my little circle. So you get to play as a Witcher, which is very exciting for me personally because this is the first time they've introduced lady Witchers. It has been canon in the Witcher universe that women can't be Witchers, but then they were like, but what if girls want to play this game? And they're like, well, forget about that. Yeah. So you walk around as a Witcher, which is a monster hunter. So you're going to hunt monsters on your augmented reality. I think it's super cool because I see you I'm looking at it right now so I can see a picture of my street, but it's all witchery. So instead of like a big road, it's like a dirt road, and instead of a school being across the street, it looks like a swamp with these like paths and stuff.
I love that. I love that so much.
But I'm basically going to fight monsters, and I can fight them with my finger, and I can go slashy slash, or I can like use bombs and magic and oils and potions to make myself better at the slashy slash. And if I'm really good, I can just fight them outright, but the loop of the game is getting the right stuff to fight the right monsters, to get the right parts, to make more stuff, to fight more monsters, and then there's a story mode. So like I feel like it's got a lot going for it, especially like all of these games. If you're a fan of the fandom, then you're gonna get the fan service plus the game, but the game itself isn't fundamentally different than the other ones.
Yeah, like this one's different because so like in like Ingress, like Troy said, you have to do like certain spy stuff with like the portals and everything.
Right.
Whereas like Pokemon Go, you catch Pokemon. This one, you're actually fighting monsters with a sword, using your finger, which I thought is kind of interesting.
And this seems like a nice solo experience. So you're not necessarily doing this tug of war, these factions. You're just playing your own game, which is very Witcher-like.
I haven't gotten to level 10 yet, but I think I have no reason to think this. If next podcast I'm wrong, I won't remember to apologize. So take this with a grain of salt.
I apologize now, in case.
I apologize in advance. There are trees in the game, and you can't do the tree event. There's like these gnarled dead trees until you're level 10. Ooh. And I'm assuming that those are going to be like raids and stuff. Because that would make sense. You'd be high enough level to fight things with other people, but maybe not.
Okay.
You're right. So far, it's been entirely solo. Like I can send my friends gifts, but I'm not interacting with anybody at all.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've also been playing the game a little bit. However, I've been doing it like how you're not supposed to be doing it. I'm just sitting at home, and then like one of the quests is like, hey, go find this dude's horse, and it gives you like an area, but it's like half a mile away or a mile away. I was like, no. So I think it's still on my screen where it's just like, hey, why don't you go do this thing? I'm like, no, I'm just going to continue fighting.
I am enjoying it right now, but I can see that that's definitely what's going to start wearing down on me is because they keep sending me places that are across major roads.
Yeah.
And it's not like I go for a walk every day. So I'm like totally fine to like, oh, you want me to go out, like a half mile out to go talk to an NPC and strangely stand in my neighbor's yard? Like, that's fine. I'm okay with being weird like that. But like, how many times am I going to cross this like 4-lane road? I did one quest and I crossed the road and I got the story event, and then the next story event was immediately back across the road. It's like,
because a lot of these augmented reality games are like promoting the idea of getting out of your house and walking to these different locations and like getting good exercise and all of that. Which I like, but yeah, you're right. Sometimes the locations they put it in are like, I don't feel safe going over there. That's like a alleyway like between places, and it's like, all right, I guess I'll go down here.
I think Pokemon did it better because Pokemon did like you mentioned, they were like actual landmarks. So it was like, go to this store, go to this Starbucks, go to this park, go to this statue.
So is this just like
so far with The Witcher, I stood in front of someone's house earlier. A lot of them have been bus stops, which I guess is okay. People are meant to be there.
That makes sense.
But like they weren't places where I felt like I could just loiter. Like, I don't want to sit at a bus stop. What if the bus comes? I have to like wave them away to be like, no, I don't need you. I'm just playing a video game.
Gotcha. And then the bus driver's like, is that Monster Slayer?
Yeah, you want to be friends?
No.
It depends. What level are you?
And yeah, the other thing that it does that's interesting is that it actually shows you things outside of your circle.
Yeah.
So in a lot of games, Pokemon, all these other things, it's just like, hey, look, this is what's in your circle. And, that's all that there is. You have to kind of walk around in order to find out what's around it. Whereas this one, it actually shows you everything that's around it. You just can't tap on it until your circle is around it.
Which is nice because, like, if you are like free form, just walking around to get exercise, it's like, I don't need a Kikimora right now, but there's a vampire over there, and I haven't gotten enough of this, so I'll go to the right now, and you can kind of like adjust your walking to match
because the other component
monsters
of this game is like collecting ingredients and parts of monsters to make potions and oils and whatnot. So you are incentivized to go fight different varieties of monsters, right?
Yes, you might have to kill vampires in order to make ogre oil, and you might have to kill an ogre for a quest. So you want to
and then you need that oil to kill the ogre to get their parts to kill the vampire or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
At any point, are your oils deemed essential?
I would say your oils are always essential.
Gotcha. Okay. And then do you sell them online?
No, but you can buy them from your not dandelion companion.
Yeah, it's kind of an MLM somehow.
It always turns back into an MLM.
It always does.
I feel like, okay, so just full disclosure, I haven't played one of these AR games in quite a long time.
Okay.
I kind of got rid of them on my phone because like I started not logging into it as often as possible, and then they just went away. I just re-downloaded Pokemon Go again, and the app looks 100 times different than the last time I opened it. Mind you, the last time I opened it was 5 years ago. So
Fair.
It was the first summer that they came out with Pokemon Go. At the time, I was living in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I love the fact that, and Manda and Troy hit it on the head, where like it had you visit all of these different like locales and like places that were traditionally like tourist spots or like like monuments or things like that. Like I remember this is before times before Gen Beep, so it never existed, it never happened. But I was dating a girl at the time that was really into Pokemon Go, and I remember us driving from Malibu to Santa Monica and driving like 10 miles an hour.
Oh, you went to the pier?
Yeah.
And
That's
just
so
going through the
cool.
pier and stuff like that, and like that sense of community at the time, because it was like 3 a.m, but there were hundreds of people at the pier.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like, oh my God, it's a Dragonite. And everybody's like running. It was just.
I got this sentiment, I think, from listening to a friend of the podcast, Still Loading, when they were talking about Pokemon Go, where they mentioned that summer, which I think was 2016.
Yeah.
That summer was probably the closest to world peace we've ever gotten.
Oh, yeah.
As a world.
Oh, absolutely. Like there was like home, like everybody's around at parks, right?
Right.
And so unfortunately, there's also a lot of homeless around the parks. But because everybody's all right there, they started ordering them pizzas.
Yeah.
They started like doing
Yeah.
all of this like community service, even like as they're like walking around, they're like picking up trash.
Yeah.
They're like doing
People
all
are
these
just
things.
out, just being lovely to each other. It was such a beautiful time. You could I remember you would just be walking in whatever area you are, the beach or the boardwalk, and you could kind of like point and like kind of look at how people were behaving and know they were also playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the swiping.
It was like the swiping or like you're just kind of looking around or something. And it was just like, wow, instant like friends. I'm just happy. I'm just happy. We're never going to talk to each other, but it's just this shared experience that we're all having. That's just so positive.
I actually found that I was more likely to talk to them because like if I was walking down, I remember we were on the beach. I was with a friend of the podcast, 3000 Brigade, Marlene, and we had just caught a Ninetales, which was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone we passed going back, if we could see they were playing, they're like, oh, by the way, 2 stores down is Ninetales. We just told like 30 people on the way, but by the way, there's and they would just like run.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice because then they trade like, oh, we caught a Squirtle over there. I was like, oh, okay, I'll go.
The idea that was happening, not just like nationwide, but like worldwide.
Yeah.
People were
Yeah.
having these lovely, positive moments. Oh, The best part of 2016, besides us getting married, of course.
I have not passed anyone playing The Witcher.
But yeah, that first summer, and actually really continuing on, was amazing. Every single time they released like a new batch of Pokemon, like the next gen or something like that, we would always go down to like Hollywood Beach because there was just all of these stops and all of these, and that's what a lot of people did. So we would be walking down there, and the people who weren't playing were the ones that were out of place.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing here? Are you just walking? What is wrong with you?
Wasting all those steps?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they didn't have an extra battery pack, you knew they weren't in on it. They were like, what are you even doing, bro?
The extra battery packs.
Look at all the eggs they could be hatching.
Yeah, right?
That
first summer, that's right. All the extra battery packs were selling out everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, you couldn't buy battery packs or extra cell phone chargers anywhere.
Because you could play it for like 20 minutes, and then your phone was dead.
Yeah.
I have a theory.
Okay.
So about a year to a year and a half after this summer of Pokemon Go was when the whole iPhone battery thing came out, where like the batteries were like slowing down and stuff like that. I feel like it is in direct correlation with how much people use their batteries during Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Of course,
I'm gonna blame Pokemon Go
Mr.
on
Apple. Mr. Apple.
Talking from the man over there. Jeez.
You didn't intentionally slow down your batteries in order to sell more phones. It was Pokemon Go.
Just blame it on the squirrel.
I'm gonna blame it on you nerds.
Welcome.
Yeah. But
it could be, though.
It could be. I mean, that's probably a good theory, but no. But Joe and I have actually been playing pretty consistently since that first year. Myself, actually, so it was interesting because when it first came out, I was heavily into it. Joe was okay into it.
Yeah.
She was like, she was in it, but she wasn't really in it.
I was really looking forward to the game from the very first teaser they ever put out.
Yes.
Like, I was hyped for this. And I had friends that were in Japan, and the place was like, hey, the beta's going on in this place. I'm like, oh, how do I get into that? I want to be in.
Right.
And then it came out, and I think I really just enjoyed being around people playing more than playing. Because I just loved seeing people being nice to each other. And it didn't matter what walk of life you were from. Like, everybody was so kind. And, like, there was people who would walk around with extra battery packs. Just walking around with them to like share with other people so they could play too. There's like one fella had a backpack that was one of those like ice freezer things, and he kept water in it, and he would walk up and down different places and be like, "Oh, you look like you're not doing so well. Do you need some water? I have extras with me." It was like
amazing.
It was like just beautiful people everywhere. I loved it. It was like everyone was being kind, and but I wasn't like as hyped about Catch the Pokemon.
Yeah.
I was into it, but I wasn't like, I need everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was heavily into it. I'm like, yes, this is my jam. I am so happy with this. So I was into it for like 6 months to a year, like heavily into it. Joe was like, okay into it. She was still playing with me, but it wasn't her thing. And then something happened at like that year mark where it just flipped. Joe was in it to win it, and I was just like, I mean, this is a good game, but I mean, it's been like a year,
They added gyms, and I got
right.
a really big kick out of taking down a gym and leaving it gray so anybody could put something in it. Like, I didn't care, so it just didn't matter.
She was chaotic neutral.
I was chaotic neutral always. And it was so fun taking down gyms that were like stacked with blissies because people were jerks. And it was like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay. I'll sit here for 15 minutes and take the whole thing down, and then I'm not even gonna put something at it. Ha! And I'm sure they just came back and put more blissies in it, but I don't care. It was still fun. I love that game. I still play almost every day now.
You do.
I go in and out of kicks. Like I won't play for a few days, and then I'll play for like 3 months, and then I won't play for a few days.
It was an interesting game in that it was a game that you had to play with other people. Not you had to, but you mainly play with other people. And then when the pandemic happened, they had to adjust because people couldn't go outside anymore. Right. And they didn't want people to go outside in the game. They're like, just stay home. Like, hey, whatever. So they actually had to make quality of life changes inside the game itself. So that way you could still play the game properly even though you're just at home.
Now the Pokemon come to you.
And they started giving away a whole bunch of different things. They started doing, you can now catch Pokemon that are further away from you. You could do all these different things with the gyms. And it was actually really nice of them to do, to actually
I bet it was also fresh because you've kind of been playing the same loop for a little while. I'm sure it was interesting just to have a different style of play.
Oh, it 100% was. And they've toned some of that stuff down now. And I think they're going to tone it down even more as
Right.
things go on. But I really wish they would have kept some of it because it's just so nice to have those quality of life changes.
Some options.
And there are also
Yeah.
some people that like I was playing The Witcher today, and I was walking around and I was like, this is not a kid's game because like you're asking me to walk over here, and I was like, I wouldn't be able to do that if I was a kid, just
you're
walking in
right.
certain areas. But if I was like 4 and I wanted to play Pokemon, or if I was, maybe not 4, but maybe if I was like 8 and I wanted to play Pokemon, my parents aren't going to bring me to the park every day so I can play Pokemon. But it would be nice to be able to like play on the iPad from home if I wanted to.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, the game is still really great. One of my favorite memories is so every single year they have Pokemon Go Fest.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask about. Can you
Yeah.
explain what it is? And then one just ended, right?
Yes.
Yes,
One just happened. Yeah.
just happened. So it's Pokemon Go Fest is a celebration of the anniversary of the release of Pokemon Go. I mean, so every single year when it first started in Chicago, which is where Niantic is based, they would like get the entire park and turn into a giant Pokemon thing.
That's awesome.
Like set
It
up things
really
in the
is.
park, like all these inflatables, and they would have special things going on inside the park itself if you were in the game.
Right.
And you had to buy a special pass to get into it and all this other stuff.
Wait. So if you were trying to get like a Charizard or something or a Charmander and you're trying to catch it in real life, would they set up like an inflatable volcano or something so that
Yes.
when you point your camera at it,
Yes.
you'll see a real life volcano and
Yes.
then animated.
Yeah, they
Charmander in
made
front
different
of it.
areas that were different environments for different Pokemon. So they had an ice
That's
area
cool.
that was actually like, do you remember the snow that used to fall on Wanadu?
Oh, like the soapy snow?
Yeah, like
soapy
snow? Right.
Soapy snow.
Okay.
Don't inhale that.
Don't
If
inhale
anyone-
it.
If you're anywhere,
Don't let
and
it
they
touch
have
your
fake
eyes
soapy
either.
Snow.
Right.
Don't let
Yeah.
it touch your skin, your eyes. You know what? Just leave.
Yes.
Because-
Immediately, it's toxic. Leave.
Because they were doing it outdoors, it was nowhere near as bad. And they had an entire stretch of the park that was all winter themed. So only ice Pokemon
Okay.
and frost Pokemon were there. They had an entire area that was all sand and desert. So all the desert or the Pokemon, they had a
That sounds
whole.
great.
It was so cute. They had a creepy woods kind of area where they made it all decked out, so it looked like a spooky area. So all the ghost
Oh.
Pokemon were there, and it was
Yeah.
This
darker
sounds
there.
like actual real life Pokemon.
It was like they
It
put
was.
like they like strung across like the fake cobwebs all throughout the trees
Wow.
and
It
everything.
looked so cool. They built like an old well where if like you were looking for something like a Gengar would pop up there. And the idea was so that you'd take a picture with it looking with you could
Yeah.
take the picture with yourself in it too. Like you hand your phone to somebody else. And it was a lot of fun.
I guess people dress up for this as well, dress up like trainers and all of
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At this time, had they added ways for you to verse other trainers? Like actually, your Pokemon can fight their Pokemon. Is that a thing?
Okay, so we were actually able to go in 2019.
Okay.
The last one they were actually able to do in person.
Right.
Obviously we didn't know that at the time, but we were able to go to Chicago and actually do this. And so that was the year they introduced that.
Okay.
They introduced PvP, player versus player,
Yeah.
inside the game. So they actually did have tournaments going on.
Oh, wow.
At
It was
that
so
time
cool.
that you could verse with people, and it was actually like a ladder.
I just want to be that guy in the weird hat at the crossroads with a Hawaiian shirt.
But and it was such a huge sense of community because this entire park really is just for Pokemon people, and they have so there's different teams in it as well. There's Instinct, which is yellow. There is Mystic, which is blue.
My
and
team.
That is that's
Thank
my
you.
team as well. And then there is
Valor,
which is red. So there's 3 different teams. So inside the actual park, they actually had team set lounges where if you're from that team, you could just lounge in there, and they had
And they had like trivia going
had
the
trivia
whole
going on,
day,
yeah.
so you could win stuff if you were hanging out in the lounge and you answered the questions. You could win like
That's great.
headphones or T-shirts or like stickers or it was a whole bunch of stuff. Like it
I
was-
imagine like you have to like prove yourself to get in. I know you could just like look at your phone, but I want there to be like a special handshake or like you have to like open up your vest and there's like an insignia on the
it's
inside
so
coat,
cool.
like something to be like.
At any point,
Come
were
in.
you able to attack any of the other teams?
with your Pokemon, yes. With yourself,
With
no.
your
I mean, you
fists.
could, but you would get arrested.
Oh, man.
there was a decent amount of security everywhere, which was almost funny because it looked like it was unnecessary. Nobody was doing anything aside from walking around, looking at their phone. Like there's this beautiful fountain. No one is looking at the fountain. No one cares about everything going on in the park.
Were the security all identical twin sisters that are dressed up in police uniforms?
I think you're right.
That would
my
have
God.
been amazing.
That would have been
They
amazing.
had set up this area where it was for trading, and since people from all over the world would come to Chicago
Wow.
for Go Fest, you would have people who had regionals from their end of town, and they would hand you little signs that said what you were looking for and what you were willing to trade as well.
Aw.
So people could meet up in these areas and then trade
Specifically.
Pokemon, and that was when we learned there was like all sorts of like things we didn't know about, like levels, and like level 1s are perfect in some way, and like if you had a Relicanth you could have whatever you wanted. If people wanted to give you their firstborn, they would trade you that for a Relicanth.
Take them.
It was really amazing.
It was.
Yeah, this sounds like a straight up theme park.
It
like
was.
a straight up Disney style theme park.
It was like, because the park is like a mile or two long at least, and it was huge. And like Joe was saying, that there's a giant fountain in the middle. If you remember Married with Children, it's that fountain from the opening theme song.
Okay, yeah.
It's a beautiful fountain in person.
It's
This
so
is my first
gorgeous.
time in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so it was beautiful. Like everything was really nice. The weather was perfect. And I just couldn't believe how much work they put into a kid's game.
right.
Even though like there was a lot of kids around, but a lot of them were our age and like
Yeah, I mean,
20-somethings.
that's the magic of Pokemon. It's been around for so long that like the target audience is are kids and adults who are kids playing Pokemon. It hits who now have kids who are playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Whoa.
perfect.
Oh, it is.
perfect.
It is. So yeah, I think Pokemon Go Fest was my highlight of Pokemon Go in general.
Gotcha.
I'm really sad that or at least the last year and a half or 2 years, they haven't been able to do one because of the
Right.
pandemic and everything.
It's been virtual.
It's been virtual. So
how
like,
does that work? Given what I just heard about 2019, how do they make that work with? Like,
Yeah,
how did
with
how did
different
this
things?
last one work?
So in 2019 when we went in person, they would have like special quests going on, like, hey, catch 10 frost type Pokemon or ice type Pokemon, and then take a picture of it inside the area.
Okay.
And so you do like a whole bunch of those, and then you get a special Pokemon at the end.
Okay.
So this year they had that as well. However, it's just like, hey, catch 10 of these types of Pokemon, and then take a picture of it. But they had like special things going around all over the world. So like.
Instead of it just being inside the park, like say in person, you had to have the ticket, and the only way you could see the things going on is if you had bought a ticket and were in the park at the same time. Whereas now,
Okay.
if you bought your ticket, it was everywhere you went. There
Okay.
was a park near your
okay,
house.
gotcha.
Okay.
That park had different stops and
Okay.
different things
Specific
in it that were
to-
just like
Correct.
Go Fest. They just weren't decked out, obviously,
Right.
like
Okay.
Go Fest. And they did a really good job the last 2 years doing this virtually. And I actually, to honestly, I hope they keep it. Because we couldn't get tickets for the
Right.
first
Right.
two
Yeah.
Go Fest, and I was actually really upset because at that point we were really heavily into the game, and it was so you had to cap the tickets. It was so hard to get them.
Revenue wise, that's got to be a better move.
It has to be.
Like,
Yeah.
have your Chicago in real
Right.
life, whatever. But then everyone else around the world who can't make a
Right.
plane get on a plane could do that.
Right, the
That's a
specialty quests are
win-win.
cute, and they're so
Yeah.
adorable, and like it was just one of those everything we went out and did, and it's 2 days, so it's not just one day. So the first day is like usually like the catch day, where it's like about finding the end game Pokemon, like the big one that you could only get if you did Go Fest. And the second day is usually, or at least the last 2 years, the second day has been more about playing with other people, even if you're playing from your car. It's about raiding, it's about doing things together and meeting goals to be able to like unlock things for later in the year. So I really like the new virtual version of it. I think
Agreed.
it's fantastic, and I think it still was kind of we didn't go anywhere super busy the first day of Go Fest this last year, or last week actually. The second day was all raids, so we went to where people would be, and it was still really nice to see like a ton of cars
Aw.
and still people walking around, but not as many. And like it used to be in this one place, there would be hundreds of people walking
Yeah.
around all day long for Go Fest. And this time it was more like there's 100 cars that definitely have a bunch of people in them, and they're all having a really good time. But maybe there's like 50 people walking around, and it was just cute. Like raids would pop off, and then immediately they would fill up with 20 people trying to do them. And ever since they instituted the remote raid passes, the game has become so much more fun. Because now our friends don't have to get together to play, and we still have a group chat with a bunch of us that play. And one of us will be like, "Hey, I just popped up near my house. Do you guys want to play?" And we're like, "Yeah, send me that
head
remote
over.
raid pass. Send me the invite. I'll do that with you."
Yeah,
So-
and that was a great feature that they added last year, where it was before you had to all be together. Like you literally had to be within the same vicinity. You had to be able to be at the gym itself in order to do a battle there.
You'd basically have to hold hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas now with the remote raid passes, like Joe was saying, hey, we have a Zapdos here. Hey, and then you can invite your friends. You can invite
That's
up to
cool.
5 people, and as long as they have a remote raid pass, they can come in and do it with you. So that was one of the great things during the during the lockdown was that we were all still able to battle with each other, even though we were tens of 20s, hundreds of miles away, whatever.
So
Yeah.
in short, Pokemon Go Fest 2021, thumbs up, thumbs down. How do we feel about
I
it?
had a great time.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I
It was
loved
good.
it. They added a new thing in the last, I think, just the last few weeks. If you're in a gym and you're raiding and you got remote raided in, they have different titles for what you could do in it. If you're the last person who took something down, if you took the final strike, or if you did the most damage, one of the things is Traveler. And like in one of the raids I was in, I was 1,600 miles away from
Kilometers.
kilometers
Ooh.
away. And I didn't realize that there's a bunch of people that I interact with on almost a daily basis that I met at GoFest in 2019.
Aw.
There's a couple we met while we were in Japan. We were sitting in front of a shrine and it was a raid. And we're like, oh, let's do the raid. And we stopped there. We started raiding and then we noticed 2 more people popped into the lobby with us. And then we looked like literally 5 feet away from us. They're standing on the other side of the shrine. And is this nice couple that was playing, and they were like, hey, do you guys want to be friends? And I send gifts to them from this side of the world every single day.
Yeah.
So it's Pokemon Go is just a beautiful game, and I love what it's done.
Yeah,
So.
and it was great, especially because at that point there was no remote raid passes, so somebody else was in the raid with us. Obviously, they're around us,
Right.
So we did the lookup, they did the lookup because they're like, oh, there's also other people here, and we started looking. I was like, hey, there you go, you beat the eyes.
Yep.
Hassel, I've noticed you've gotten very quiet and you continually you're looking down a lot.
I am, yeah.
What you doing? What
What you
you doing
catching?
there?
So I've had a Charmander run away from me now.
Oh.
I've also haven't necessarily gotten used to the whole payment system, so I feel like I've already spent about $20 in it, and I've just been sitting here for about 20 minutes. I am an adult and I cannot figure this out, but I will catch Pokemon. I promise you.
Speaking of being an adult, I also am an adult, and I bought a Farfetch'd leek and an egg incubator backpack about a month ago, and they got here about a week ago. So you know what? I'm with you. I'm an adult.
The leek is a life-size leek. It's
Aw.
3 feet long, and it's in the shape of a leek because of Farfetch'd in the game.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Wait, hang on a second. I do have a question about that before we go off. Farfetch'd,
Sure.
wasn't, when the game first came out, wasn't he a region-specific Pokemon?
Yes, he is still a region-locked Pokemon to Japan. And he was one of the hardest ones to get in the whole game because he didn't spawn everywhere. He only spawned in big cities. And every once in a blue moon, like a lot of the other regionals. But at one point, I think it was the year 2 or year 3, they did a specialty thing with your friends. If you opened gifts from your friends, they could have eggs in them that were the yellow ones, and they were 7-kilometer hatch eggs.
Yeah.
Those, for a little while, could be regional exclusives. And it could be Kangas, it could be Mr. Mime, it could be Farfetch'd, or it could be
Tauros.
Tauros.
Yeah, the one that we
So
had.
the one that we have. So you can that still happens now. But the Farfetch'd you get now is the one with the giant leek that can turn into Surfetch'd. And it's the only way you can make a Surfetch'd is by getting the one with the giant leek.
Yeah.
Wow. I
That's
feel like you
amazing.
just explained like calculus to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like straight up. No, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. Just
You were so
chalkboard.
confident.
I saw every single egg on that chalkboard. Amazing.
I got you. I'll take you to Farfetch class.
Yeah. And Pokemon Go is not the only one in it. It's just, the one we have the most, I think a lot of people have the most memories from, especially from that first summer. But they've also had, like we said, they had the Harry Potter game, which I think you played a bit of, right, Manda?
I did. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the game.
The game. And how was that?
You sound like you're selling it like super hardcore right now. You're like,
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
That Harry Potter game.
To be honest, it hit the loop that all of these games eventually hit for me. In that I played it for a certain amount of time, and then an event came up that I was very excited about, and I had done everything up to that event, and then I looked at the amount of things that I would have to do in order to do that, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's no way. I don't mind working a little harder to not spend money, or I don't mind spending like $2 if it's going to make me happy, but I just looked at the sheer amount of either money they wanted me to spend or time, and it was just like, nah. Like, I had to cast like 50 unicorns. So it was like one in every 70 things I see is a unicorn. I was like, I just don't want to do that, which is a bummer because the story was really interesting and the loop was fun, but
Just didn't get you. Yeah, how do you guys feel about purchases in these types of games? Because they are free, But in order to get like additional like Pokeballs, like if you aren't able to go out and spin stops in gyms, you run out of Pokeballs, so you have to buy them.
Right.
Or if you want more inventory space, you can purchase that. And that's how it is in a lot of these games.
Yeah, these games don't escape the parts of mobile free app games that I dislike already. So the freemium idea of, hey, you have this thing, or we're going to lock it, and you're going to do a thing, we're going to lock it, it's going to take 20 minutes, or if you pay us money, it's going to take 1 minute, or 3 hours, and we'll get it done in 10 if you pay us money. Or the other types where you have like energy, and you can only use so much, and then you have to wait a long time before it's back. I get it because, hey, the game is free, so I understand they have to find some way to make money in it. But those things always kind of grate on me over time. So my penchant for playing games like that is just kind of smaller and smaller. It was its biggest with Pokemon Go. I played that as well. And I think they actually designed it really nicely so you can get a lot of game out of it. But I felt like the Harry Potter Wizard game and even the Monster Slayer one, the Witcher one that we're playing now, definitely I felt that wall. I hit that wall quicker.
Okay.
And then and that just makes me feel like, well, nah, thanks. I've been down this road, and I've played a really good one of these games, and I don't think I can't. That's where I usually end up falling off early on.
And sometimes it's unfortunate because like the game will be great for one person because they're location based, and it'll be terrible for another person. I stopped playing Pokemon because I mean there are only so many places I could walk near the house, and I did the full loop, and I couldn't get enough Pokeballs to continue to play. It's like in order to enjoy this, I would have to spend money every day to play it. Yeah. And it was like it just wasn't balanced out for me. But I knew other people that just because of where they lived, they had more stuff nearby.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's not the game's fault. I just don't live in a good area for this game.
I got to a place with it where so the reason that I wound up stopping playing is because for a little while was because a hurricane came through and I couldn't spin a Pokestop literally one day. I spun a Pokestop every single day in that game for like 3.5 years.
Wow.
Like it was just something I did. I would take a walk and I would always make sure I walked over to the park near that had 3 Pokestops at it, and I would stand there for 10 minutes, spin 3 stops 2 or 3 times, then go back home and catch Pokemon the whole way. We would go on trips, and if we were ever on a international flight, I would make a point of saying wherever we are, I need to find a Pokestop before we get on that 12-hour flight, because by the time we touch down, it will be a different day, and I'm not missing a day.
Nice.
That worked really well for years, and then Hurricane Irma happened, and then I had to miss a day because you can't go outside.
Right.
You can't walk around, and I completely agree. It has to do with your location. If I lived in New York and there was a nor'easter, who cares? It doesn't matter where you are. There's a Pokestop on every single corner.
Yeah. Right.
But if you live anywhere that has anywhere near suburbia of any kind, or if you live in the middle of like the Midwest, there are stretches of tons of miles where like you it's not like you can just play the game whenever you want to. And I kind of agree with you too. I feel like the paywall on Pokemon was a lot lower. Like you could continue playing. I would make Brian. Usually I'd be like, hey, when he was done playing this game, I'd like, hey, you want to hit up Mullins? It's got like 30 Pokestops in it. Like we're gonna go on a trip, and I want to make sure I have enough Pokeballs so I don't have to buy Pokeballs, because I have never bought Pokeballs in this game, but Pokemon Go has taken more money. It is the most expensive game I've ever played.
Same. Yeah.
It is. I would buy I would throw like $20 to it before we go on a trip so I could have raid passes. Or so I could have incubators, because I'm walking around so much. And I really like hatching eggs. That's like the thing that I really love in the game.
Yeah, we would chalk it up to like, this is part of our vacation. Like this is vacation money.
Yeah.
You know,
Usually
we're
I would
gonna
buy a new
allocate.
game.
Yeah, we're gonna allocate $50 to $100.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna bring you a lot of fun while you're there.
And
Exactly.
I think that's the ideal balance. Is like I spent $5 in The Witcher when it started because I was like, I can't be a Witcher without a silver sword. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't mind paying $5 for a game that I'm going to play.
Yeah.
But I think where it's good is when you are spending that and you're having like a moment of enjoyment. Where it's bad is where you feel like you have to spend it even to play it.
Yeah.
It's like, I think what killed Harry Potter for us is Troy spent $2 in the game.
Oh, more
and
than
then
that.
immediately lost.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I spent $2 to try this thing, and then it was like gambling. It was
Yeah, it was
over in like a second, and then he didn't even get the thing.
Wow.
I vaguely remember the battle system in that, where it was like different.
It was chance.
It was really chance.
Yeah. And I remember doing that, and I was like, all right, I was gonna spend money until I got it, and then I spent it, and then I just didn't get it, and I don't know, I might have been close to $20 in, and I'm like, I'm literally gambling. Like I'm literally in a casino, except if I win, I'm not getting any money back. And then I was just done. I was just kind of done with the format.
Yeah.
After that.
As someone who just recently spent $20 in this game, and who will definitely be disputing that charge with Apple support, I think I don't like pay to play things. Like especially when it comes to like, hey, you want to be good at this, you want to beat this. Well, give us some money. Like that's my biggest problem. Like, oh my God, it's going back to FIFA. This is my biggest problem with this is the biggest problem with FIFA Ultimate Team. Like you have these kids who have spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on packs and building their ultimate team. So yeah, obviously they have like all of these superstars and like all of these historic players, and you're not going to be able to beat them. And the game is no longer fun at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, like the idea that I guess for me, it's like I'm okay if it's cosmetic. I'm okay if it makes you get experience faster. But if you literally are paying money to be more powerful, then like what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah, I agree.
If you're going up against other players, I feel like if you're paying to be more powerful and it's a single player experience, and you're just honoring your time. If it's like, hey, I don't want to spend the 12 days to get this, I'll just pay for it now, then that's up to you. You do you. But when it comes to like, you're going to do that, like in your case, Hassel, like you're doing that, you're going to ruin someone else's experience because of that, I feel.
Like think about if a like say like, a 9-10-year-old was in that position where, they spent their allowance on this game, on like the Harry Potter game, and the very next thing that happens is they lose that.
Yeah.
Like, how heartbreaking is that?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's crazy. But yeah, and then they've also had other types of these types of games. So they had Minecraft as well.
Yes.
Had one of these. Joe and I played that for about a month.
Yeah. The problem with those games for me, and it's directly because of Pokemon Go, I didn't want to share my time.
Yeah.
Right.
We would go to, like, I can only play one of these at a time, and playing Minecraft was cutting into, maybe there was a Pokemon I didn't have wherever we were driving, but I'm not looking at Pokemon.
Right.
And so I'm looking at Minecraft instead. For me, that was like, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Like, it's like one or none.
I never even thought about the idea of playing multiple types, like multiple games of these at one time.
It was hard.
Wouldn't it be cost effective? Like you go to one place and you get like 3 different games you can like satisfy their goals.
And to be honest, most of the Niantic ones, they're all the same thing in each game.
Right.
Right.
So everywhere you went, it pretty much, as long as it was in Ingress, it's in those other games.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense why Witcher isn't putting me in points, because it's not by Niantic.
They don't have
they're
that.
not sending me to Starbucks because they don't have that data.
Right.
They don't have
Exactly.
It is based on Google Maps though, so like why can't Google Maps send me to businesses? But
It's I
because those businesses didn't pay enough money.
to a degree, that probably is part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, that's not why I'm not going to Starbucks, because I'm sure Starbucks got that dollar.
But yeah, I think this was a great discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to take away anything from all of these games is I do like the notion of getting you out of the house. I think that is such a great way to do it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like 2016, that summer where Pokemon Go came out, that was the most I've ever walked in my entire life.
Boom.
Yeah, but like we're in Florida and it is hot.
It's so hot.
It's so hot. It was 91 degrees
It's
today.
so hot.
It's so hot. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. The walking is great.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's
Day
hot.
1 for Pokemon Go was the first time I'd ever been in San Francisco, and I was on like the pier walk all the way
my
down.
God, that's
And
awesome.
it was like Pokemon everywhere, and I was explaining to my friend who I was with like what this is all about and all that. So I got to like bring someone new into Pokemon, look at Pokemon, and experience San Francisco for the first time. We walked all day. It was like a nice 72 the whole time.
It's so beautiful.
I came back home after that trip to Manning where we're like, Pokemon, let's go. We walked for like 15 minutes and we're like, oh gosh, what are we doing? It's not worth it. Squirtle's not worth it. He's not worth it.
So hot.
There was a person who lives down here who created one of the Pokemon trackers it's a website that kind of breaks the game. It tells you and shows you where everything is, how long it's going to be there, what that thing's IVs was. You would see like an unknown popped up, and like our friends would be like, yo, an unknown just popped up, and like you couldn't find them anywhere. And it was like, who wants to go? Someone's got to go. And then like everybody, like you'd see like 40 cars show up at one place. And it was like magic.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish the other games had something like that too.
Sure.
Because it's not that I want to cheat. It's not that I want the game to be broken or anything. It's just some people, though, they play and they only have a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
So like Witcher, you can only walk so much. In Florida, you can only walk so much.
Well, at least with The Witcher, it does do that. So
It is doing that. Oh, that's
you
cool.
can
Oh,
see,
okay. So that's the circle thing.
Yeah, you have the small circle that's closest to you, and then those are the monsters you can fight. But for probably a mile,
think it's
you
about
can
a
see
mile.
all the monsters.
Yeah.
And if you
That's really
click on
cool.
them, they'll tell if you fought one before, they'll tell you what it is.
Cool.
So they're like, oh, a werewolf popped up over there. And actually, you could spend. Oh, sorry, I'm getting way too deep into this.
Hit
But
me.
you can use a potion to see the different types of monsters. So you can click all monsters, common monsters, rare monsters, and then legendary. So you can drink a potion and be like, are there any legendaries near me? Or are there any rares near me? So if I only had 15 minutes to play, I'm going to pop this potion and then be like, okay, the rares are over here. So I'll go over here, get those 2 rares, then I'll be done for the day or what have
That's
you.
cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's a really good part of the game, actually.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, too, because I think it's a, Witcher sense or something like that is what they call
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That's what his medallion does in the video game. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I know where monsters are.
Exactly.
So it's
Didn't
like, oh.
delete it yet.
I'm
Give it
going to be
another
downloading
try.
it soon.
yeah. It's interesting, especially because of the twist. Instead of catching monsters, you're slaying them.
I
And
am
it's
kind of interested in the story.
Yeah.
I hope this catches on, but you have Pokemon Go, and I think this should be called Witchymon Go because you're a
Witchymon
Witcher
Go.
monster hunter, so you're a Witcher because Pokemon is pocket monster, and now you're a Witcher monster.
Witchymon,
So Witchymon.
Wichita monsters. Witchymon are the
That's
champions.
for the internet.
I hope it
This
happens.
is this
We
is
should
you
call it a
expanding the
Witchymon.
Go universe. It's like
Yeah, I
Pokemon
am.
Go, Witchymon Go, and next we're gonna have like Digimon Go, and it's just gonna be it's gonna
Would
be
play
the worst.
Digimon Go.
I think a lot of people would play Digimon Go.
Yeah.
Because that actually makes sense considering it's in the digital world.
What?
What? But this was an amazing discussion with y'all. I'm glad we got to hear all of your experiences, all the different types of games. I know they're going to be coming out with more of these as well.
Jurassic Park, I think.
Oh, that's right. They
one.
will. That's well.
Oh, man. I forgot about that one. I can't play 2 of these at once.
That's right. There was also a Ghostbusters one. I forgot about that one. That one there was a
Ghostbusters would be
Ghostbusters.
great.
Yeah, Ghostbusters one was okay. So the thing is, the problem I found with all the new ones. Sorry to sidetrack us again. The problem was with all the new ones is that they kind of start from the base level.
Oh,
like
yeah.
whereas Pokemon Go, that was a new experience, and even though basically you could only catch Pokemon, which is fine because that's still your childhood. And
Right.
so, but by the time these new ones came out, Pokemon had evolved so much.
Yeah.
Evolved. Pokemon had added so many new features that when these new ones came out, it was just like, oh,
You can't
this
do
is-
anything
You can't do
else?
anything
Yeah.
in this.
You started
Yeah.
developing this when Pokemon was popular, but now it's been a few years, but you're fewer years behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's just not a lot of features with these newer ones. And that was the problem with like Minecraft and a couple of other ones where it's just like, there's just not a whole lot to do right now. I'm sure in a couple of years, these are going to be amazing. But right now, I have Pokemon Go. I could just do all these other things in.
Yeah, I definitely saw Witcher come out, and they announced it at WitcherCon, and it was just like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now? You're
Now?
going to release that now?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. But y'all, this was a great discussion. I'm so glad we got to talk back and forth and all this other jazz. But unfortunately, this brings to the end of this week's episode. Wow. But you can always find us online.
That's right. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on Discord, and Twitch. We are online all throughout the week.
All throughout the week.
And you can find us at Taste of Dragons everywhere.
That's right.
We'd love to hear from you.
And we're also on a podcast this week, still loading. We have been invited onto one of their podcasts again.
Ooh,
So
we're guesting it up.
we're
over
guesting it
here.
up again. Joe and myself are going to be on this week's episode, which was also released today.
Oh.
What?
And it's all about Animal Crossing. In case you guys are missing, turn up for
Beautiful.
what?
So finish listening to this podcast and then immediately start listening to that podcast.
Yes.
Yes. And is it like personal
Yes.
stories from Animal Crossing or going through the history of Animal Crossing?
It's personal stories. So there's actually, it's a 2-part episode. So the first half is with another creator or another podcaster, I should say. And then the second half is with Joe and myself.
That's awesome.
And we're talking about, our podcast our journey and then our actual video game journey as well with Animal Crossing.
Yep.
Nice.
Go check out Still Loading Podcast. Follow them. Listen to their episodes. He's great.
He's amazing. He's a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
I'm Hassel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
The
Taste of Dragons.
Have a great week, everyone.
I'm ready to go.
Why do you guys think a team of Witchers playing FIFA would be like?
What?
Better yet, what if I develop FIFA Go?
That's just
How
soccer.
are you just
That's
soccer?
just soccer.
Wait.
Just go to a soccer field. We can just play soccer.
I'm insulted that you said better yet.
Amanda wants to see a team of Witchers playing soccer.
There would be so much Ignis on that field if Witchers were playing.
A scorched field.
Oh my god, yes, the Ignis.
Shut up, yourself. You don't know what that means.
Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast, a podcast for everyone's taste.